beep boop beep boop. Literally me. No way. What's going on, Squall? Kinda crazy. Alright, that running. There we go. You'd be good. Alright, we should probably let's just jump right into it. For real though. Alright, right, we're on the bad list. Yesterday's challenge killed you inside? What was yesterday's challenge? I guess it's something very not fun, based on that description. Speaking of very not fun, boy, we got the cast of characters of all time left. Let's see how long it takes for me to die as Tainted Maggie. Low-key. Well, eaten with Isaac's tears and you forgot the passive. Oh. Well, that's just lovely, isn't it? Get over here. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a challenge for a reason. Oh, there's boss. The starting stats were abysmal. Yeah, no, that's just an Eden moment, honestly. I just don't like that guy. He's not a very fun person. Monster's probably low-key one of the worst bosses to get is Tainted Maggie, just since he's so bulky for this early in the run. And I can't really sack as much health as I want to try and churn through it. With Hayamo Mutant Spider. Ugh, yeah, no, that tier rate is like vile. Like that, take some health. Oh, let's go to normal. Ugh, Cellar. Oh, at least that means like a lot of spiders to just smack. Oh, he didn't get hugged. Valid, I guess. Oh, neither did he. Well, I guess they probably have some sort of invulnerability while midair, too, don't they? Something like that, probably. Heart. Let's see what we got. Kidney bean. Erlinger bean. Sure. Like, the door was already open, there was no reason not to. Sick. Down we go. I don't even know where I'm wanting to go, if I'm being real. Let me actually check my marks. Mega's debatably one of the harder ones to go for, so I really don't want to... I think we could just go try going normal path, going up. Whoop. You have a wall? Oh. Well, good for you. Gosh, these guys suck. Welcome in though, Vlad. I hope you and your wall are having a good time. That only took an hour. Need a key. The wall investment is the key to the future. Oh. Oh. I don't follow, however, I agree. Where'd go? There he is. Ow. Yum. Take that, check the bottom. Secret can't be up. Could it be down? No, that is an incorrect deduction. Bam, got him. And I missed that half heart. Very unepic. Take. Smack him. Such an enthralling character with all the effort that goes into it. Alright, so we can go back and get the item now. What do we got? A little Gertie, okay. Very well. I'm up. Ah, I'm getting low. Go. Ah, boss. Lovely. No, you gotta knock that off, sir. I need that. Thank you. Half heart. Half, nope. Okay, missed. Ow, damn it. Oh, that's a lot of troll bombs. Sick. Please don't. There we go. That. Size down. And see forever. I might as well go scan the floor real quick. I'll take that and get out of here. Use 2. Oh, and oh, I have. Damn it. Good. Please, little Gertie, you have to hit them. Old heart. Arms. This way. Nice. Damn it. She's just a little too slow. Nuclear fusion. We're going even further beyond. Ooh, Steam sale. I should probably be more cognizant of shops for like Sharp Plug. You don't know what to say? Valid. I can't say I have, no. Yeah. Hearts, hearts, hearts. I want that nickel. I actually never found the item this floor. But I also really don't want to backtrack. So I think I'm just fine with skipping it. Yeah, we get Angel here anyway. It really doesn't matter. Ooh. I mean, yeah, there's literally no reason not to take Virtues. I want to meet the guy who sees that room and is like, oh, hell yeah. Breath of Life, finally. I am not dealing damage. I just realized how cool of a design this character is, but she's so cool. I mean, yeah, she's definitely decent. I'm just not a big fan of the draining health, honestly. I mean, it's a cool design, but I feel like she's a character that, I mean, she takes advantage of items that a lot of characters don't get as much of a use out of, which is good. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like if you don't get the right items, you're kind of just boned. Is this Tainted Lost? Yeah. Art. Oh, my damage is only 2. That would do it, yeah. If you perfect pixel with Breath of Life, it's a perfect best item. Yeah, but I'm not doing that, so... As much as I'd like to do that, I'm not gonna grind out the meta for Breath of Life. Alright, down we go. Yeah. But I mean, Bethany also just doesn't like... Bethany just doesn't have, you know, soul hearts, which is a pain in the ass more than it isn't. Fuck. Fucking damn it. Isaac has a meta? Absolutely. There's absolutely a meta. Oh, boy, all these characters are terrible. Could go Tiden. Other than Angel over Devil? I mean, for specific characters, absolutely, yeah. Like, would you debate that contact items are significantly... or that they aren't significantly better on Tainted... not Bethany. Magdalene? Like, that is her meta. Would you not debate that Sharp Plug is her meta? Balls of Steel. Makes her yeet? This is correct. Dude, Akeldama tears these guys to shit. What is he supposed to do? Ooh, money. Let's go check out that shop. Yeah, I'm good. Low key. Womp. This away. Michael Diamond makes you look like an airplane. Yeah, I'm like a flying V formation bird. Like a flock of geese. Die now. This is the meta. Die. Alright, keys, sweet. Ooh, treasure room. Alright, Minecrafter. More like, no, got him. Maybe the meta is the friends we made along the way. Honestly, true. Oh, my bean evolved. My bean further evolved. What is the chance of that, getting 3 bean actives in a row? What's in here? Squat. Nothing. The bean transformation. True. I am Mr. Bean. I could beat Superman. Alright, boss time. Alright, boss time. Ow. Take the finger. Best item. You saw one movie where Mr. Bean was a spy? I think that was just called the Mr. Bean movie. Are you thinking of the one where he sneaks into the museum to switch out the music, or the art piece? So he drugs the guy at the opening, or like the security guard with laxatives? Oh. Let's go back there and absorb that Minecrafter. Actually, let's take Minecrafter and absorb flesh. Ooh, one attack. He had a really cool car. Ah. When did I get a lost soul buddy? What the fuck? Oh, he's dead. Nope. And I'll take you. Alrighty. Let's get onto the funny floor. Oh, draw us. Hey Lois, this is like that one time where I was in Dross in The Binding of Isaac. Money. Epic. Lay epic pog. Eh. Can you have a menu of that? You don't want it. There's a lot of weird stuff they put in the Dross. Find Quagmire. Too plant-based? Yeah, that's exactly it. It's too based. That's the mirror. Oh, an E-heart. What the fuck? Bump bump. E, finally. An E-girl heart? If I had $1 for every one of those I've had. Hoo-wee. Alright, was there a keeper in there? There was. Increase our chances. Damn, I was playing for a freaking angel room over in a big play. Don't really care for that. Let's take this and this. Alrighty. What kind of Pokemon is that? I think it's from the newest generation, honestly. Also, I'm dead now. I love Spider Angel Cursed Rooms. Dum da 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 dum. Dum da 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 dum. Dum da da dum. Da 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 dum. Stop streaming the rare days that you go out of town or are busy. Literally stream any other night of the week. Listen. No. You can't even listen to a response. Ugh. The power of the spider. It's literally me. No way. Let's play this dumb bitch. Dumb bitch. XL. Okay. Bump. The Mean Girl. Correct. From hit movie Mean Girls. Ipecac has a better fire rate? Yeah, I mean, that's just true. Not only does it have a better fire rate, but it also does way more damage. I don't think I've ever seen him use that spread shot before. Binky. And beat her with Book of Revs. Powerful on her, you can use Red Claws as much as possible. I mean, I would imagine just having any sort of health regen on this character would be just appreciated. Womp. Thinking of Isaac co-op, it's going to be pure chaos. Oh, absolutely. I'm just thinking of the things that have happened before the proper release of it. I love this boss. There we go. I want this one. And down. Through here. Imagine barely organizing it in a Discord and it's still chaos. Oh, I mean, I would fully believe it. It would just be inherently chaotic by its nature. Egg. Finding the boss real quick, huh? I need a key. Where at? You played so many of them with Haima, they're fun. I mean, I believe it. I've played I've played a few with Mr. Pop Mob. And, you know, we've never completed one, but it's entertaining at the very least. Granted, you know, the whole lag situation due to being like at opposite ends of the planet kind of also factors in, but I mean, let's just ignore that. I just want a key. Think. Oh. I don't like this character. I don't like most of these characters that are left, honestly. Ugh. You know, let's play the... for us, is more okay because we were both from Europe and very close. Oh, absolutely. I would most certainly imagine so. Tainted Keeper, maybe? No. See, the thing is, Tainted Keeper is Tainted Keeper is Tainted Keeper is actually like good, so like I want to actually save him. Let's try greed with this guy. Why'd I go regular greed? Yeah, so that's much less of a geographical difference. There we go. What we got? Ooh. Oh, what's our shop looking like? Chaos could be interesting. Yeah, exactly. That's just it's just a little bit of a difference. Womp. Where'd that other guy go? There he is. Come on. Eek. Oh, I would absolutely imagine. From Argentina? Yeah. Got 12. Nice. There we go. All right. What's actually a tier rate up? Low key, I'm gonna take Squeezy. Yo, Jamie, what's going on, Big Jamie? Let's go. Hello. Did not buy a key. I need to buy a key. I'm playing greed. Mulligan. Oh, damn it. Sneeze. Let's see what's in our silver room. Ooh! Useless. We take it. How is our shop looking? A mystery gift. Ah, this is a guaranteed angel, so mystery gift actually could be massive. Ow, damn. Oh. And dead. Ow. Tainted Azazel's honestly just built for this game mode, I say as I get hit. Like, the high burst damage potential is just kind of like all him. Like, really. Oh, absolutely. Alright, we have to go buy this. We'll buy the key for the item. Let's see what we got in here. Coming cold. Okie dokie. Oh. Bombino. I don't think I've ever seen Bombino in Greed. Oh. That's rather annoying. Yo, what's going on, Lucia? No thanks. I don't think... Oh. Yeah, you hate to hear it. Up. Bless him. Oh, that's never good. What do you mean here? Album. I mean, that would do it, I suppose, yeah. Oh. The aesthetic game mode, correct? There we go. I'm getting kind of dunked on it, but up in here. Also, these items are iffy at best, so I'll take a key. Honestly, I'll take stapler. Oh, mini would have been nice. Ooh, freezer baby. There we go. Mr. Mia's good. Yeah, but like, no. So. Oh, yo, odd mushroom. These items aren't very exciting either. He's one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. I believe it, honestly. Oh, sick. Oh, sick. I need a higher tier rate. No. You can shoot faster than I can sneeze. Another mushroom guy. EA Sports, it's in the name. Range down. Oh no. What will I ever do? As tainted as Azazel. Take that key. Actually, hold on. I'm fucking dead. I love champions. Halo. Ooh, and Binky too. There's a haunted chest over here in the corner. Oh. Well, I mucked that one up, didn't I? Take that. Spider. Honestly, seeing these spiders move just reminds me of that one video I did of greed mode and having to like keyframe track one of the spiders around. That was certainly a time. He is just very dead. Up, up, up. You mean peak gameplay? Oh, of course, of course, of course. This is simply just beautiful. My favorite part is where I nearly get telefragged by like a whole like diamond of fucking spiders. There we go. Oh, cool. I really just didn't need that half heart. Where are you at? There you are. Let's get a key. Key. Box of Friends. Okay, we're playing Lilith now. You know, except not terrible. Alright, so, okay, okay. Bingo bongo. This game is 13 years old, older than some people, and they still didn't fix the telefrags. Because that would be work, and that's just not acceptable. Neo and Delirium. I want Inky. Yes. My power ever increases. Over here. Ooh, stapler. It's so easy, just add a freaking spawn effect where enemies will spawn. Yep. Yep. Also, missing poster is kind of massive if you don't already have the Lost Mark. Like, that's actually kind of insane. What is this? Growth hormones? Actually, that's absolutely massive. We need that. Oh, look at all those enemies. Oh, ow, damn it. There we go. Based. Come on. Damn. There we go. He has you sweep. He has you sweep. Oh. 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 I will take this. However, yeah, stairway. Do I bother with the item? Yeah, honestly, yeah. Ooh, Fido. Now we go down. Past this though, unless we see something like real crazy, we have to like keep the money up. Because stairway is like game changing. Okay, luckily it wasn't anything too crazy actually. Ooh, Blood of the Martyr. Neat. I'd be down for more damage, low key. Ooh, increased tears. Ow, damn. Just gotta keep on blasting. Oh, I just let that one hit me. Whoa, that's a big guy. him. Oh. Nice. There we go. Easy peasy. Oh, it's Envy. Luckily, I'm the Envy Shredder. Ooh, holy water. One more damage is kind of big. But I'm gonna take a gamble here, and I'm gonna bring this 30 down to the next floor. And see what they envy your power. We need more power, Dante. Ooh. Yeah, no. Not for 30. Yeah, nothing really in here, but I will drop the 3. Ooh. Headless baby. Dude, double headless baby is probably the worst thing I could have with. I actually shouldn't have picked that up because auto turret was actually doing work and headless baby will not. The Holy Grail's filled with wine? It could be. That's a tiny lump. I need to keep my eyes out for more buddies, because now I've kind of broken Box of Friends. Mr. Fred. Two Monster chooses Vile. There we go. Angel again. Let's go. Ooh, the body is actually huge here. This game is so cool. I can drink Jesus blood. Let's go. That's the spirit. There we go. Heal. This is overridden by Brimstone, so it's useless anyway. In that case, I'll take a discounted Soul Heart. Lump of coal. Have to take that and a key. Random effect every 2 seconds. I don't really like that. Only 15 coins. This is insane. I really don't know what's happening right now. Who balanced the prices? Isaac, maybe? I don't know. These. Money. Dead. Oh, not you. There we go. Good boy. Keep being dead. Angel. Celtic. Yeah, I mean, just Celtic. Like, why would I ever... Goo Goo Gaga in place of the prices? Crew, though. That key. Alright, I don't think there was anything crazy in here, was there? No. Yo, Sigma Poop 69. What a name. You must be an American hero, honestly. Greetings and welcome in, though. Hope you're doing well, Sir Sigma Poop the 69th. I'll take Circle of Proc. Cool username, huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling this shop. We're low-key just saving for the next angel room and hoping it doesn't suck. Eek! This is torture. Brew. Greed mode moment. Oh. I'm not even completely fully aware what's happening on the screen anymore. I'm kind of just pressing buttons. I think that's just the way Azazel's meant to be played. Oh, what the fuck? Angle. The soul. Might as well top off his heart. Now we go. Star of Bethlehem? Sure. Wicked. Does that even work though? Due to it being spawned here? Or is it just going to show up in the Ultra Grade room? Report for nudity? Based and true, honestly. Oh, what did I just get hit by? Word for gore and violence. Valid. I wonder how much health I have. Easy peasy. A dark joke moment, no way. Take. Yeah. Well, I mean, with that whole thing too, a lot of people just act like video games are the only thing. It's not as much that people. It's not as much. I don't know. It's not as it. People just act like violence didn't exist before video games, but the second it pops up in that, it's like, oh, that's the issue. But I mean, when you think about it, I mean, that's just what happens in any new source of media. I mean, back when like rock music was new, oh, that rock music's evil, it's the devil, it's causing people to become murderers and such. And then you got TV, and then you got movies, and then you got video games, and then, you know, eventually it's gonna be Hollow Mind. Or Laserdisc 2, I don't know. We're violent in nature. Yeah. G deer. Whoa. Oh, eh? This whole cast sucks. Choose a character for me, game. Yeah, I already have a mark on that. I already have marks on this guy. Oh, I really don't want to do greedier either. Hard. Random. Give it to me good. Do it. I already have all the marks for this guy except for greed. Violent video games are a way to contain the violence to do something you won't do IRL. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's as much of that. I think it's just more that, you know, people can see it that way, that it's a way to contain that. But I mean, I think it's also just important to realize that, like, not all people are inherently, like, out to do that type of thing. And so it's like, by seeing it or performing it in a game, it's not as if they're even just, like, you know, trying to vent out their frustrations per se, though. I mean, of course people can. It's just, you know, entertainment. It doesn't have to mean anything. Like, I mean, I like Counter-Strike. I think that's a fun game, but I mean, that doesn't mean I want to be like a counter-terrorist guy or something like that in real life. Ooh. Ooh. Mine. We're gonna abyss you. The Gurgling Brothers? No way. Help. Without video games, the violence will be even more prevalent. I don't know if I'd make that debate. Yeah, I don't know if I'd make that debate. I mean, is there empirical evidence that states that because A, then B? Or is it rather just the idea of, oh, I heard someone saying why you kill in video games and I find it stupid. It's because people just try to attribute meaning to anything, whether there is any to be found in it or not. When at the end of the day, a lot of things can just be a source of entertainment without having to have some deeper meaning or implication for the person indulging in it. Like, there are things absolutely that people can like, and they'll be a more, you know, core to their being or something they find interest in. But for a lot of stuff, it's like, oh, this just seems really stupid. I'll play it and see what happens or something like that, or read it or watch it or blah, blah, blah. Eee. I am being attacked. Yeah, it do be like that sometimes, honestly. Bomba. Dead, take that. Get him. Get him now. Good. Alright, let's go fight the big bad. Ooh, easy guy. Easy, easy peasy. You know, as I play Tainted Apollyon, I feel like they really thought that the Locusts would be more to his character. Which, I mean, the Locusts are kind of big. You can, like, beat runs straight up without picking up items, because the Locusts can be insane once you get a lot of them. But, like, I don't know. It's not bad, it's just... Locusts. There we go. Morrow. Secret truth is that morality is just a construct of human nature to make order. People don't do bad things because it's evil or morally bad. They just don't do it because they go to jail. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely debate that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yes, morality is absolutely a construct, but I think just saying that people don't do things explicitly because they'll get punished for it isn't inherently true either. Because, I mean, there are absolutely people out there who are more, you know, shy or laid back or easygoing who would never dream about doing certain things, not because it's illegal, but because that's just not in their nature. You can make the debate of human nature as a whole, but the natural status of a given person is not a constant. There are those who are more inclined to violence or rage, and there are those who would rather just, you know, coast through life and just without doing as much damage to anything as they can. Yeah, I'm invulning there. There we go. Coin. And I mean, to an extent, I mean, I don't know how much I believe this, but I mean, I'm just kind of, you know, riffing, if you will, so I'm just gonna say it regardless. But I mean, you can almost debate that human nature, rather than for violence, is to do what they deem is right or best for themselves, which is just inherently sometimes is more skewed for other people. So many times in Apocalypse without justice system, people go insane and forget about morality. Well, that's because in an apocalypse, you're also taking out the idea of society, not in the moral sense, but in the sense that there's like everything stops being, you know, the same old 9 to 5 and starts being you have to do anything you can to survive. So it's less. So yes, it does become less about morality in that sort of situation, obviously. But I mean, you can't really. There's no real control over that, because if you're being put in a hypothetical situation where, you know, it's life or death, you obviously have to, you know, start doing things a little differently. But if we're talking about in, you know, a modern day society in a, you know, a generally developed country, for the most part, violence isn't something you really have to, you know, ever consider if it's not within your nature. And I mean, even then, you can still debate that not everyone would fully, you know, get on board with that, because, I mean, some people will still be the pacifists of the group or anything like that. So even then, I don't fully believe that would just automatically shift every human being in existence to a different frame of mind. While yes, a lot of people would go into survival mode, and in fact, most people would. Survival mode means different things to different people. Or perhaps, you know, or even then, some people might still hold their values close enough to the point that they'll choose their own values or morals over survival instincts. Whether, you know, it actually benefit them or not. Ow. Decent. See, I love this kind of topic. It's so rare talking about this kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, understandable. Human nature in general is just an interesting concept. And I could see it just being generally uncomfortable for some people to talk about. Because, I mean, I guess you could debate the people who are least comfortable talking about it are the most inclined to, you know, flip the script if something doesn't go their way. Or, you know, doesn't go according to the status quo. Which, I mean, might sound like a bit of a barbed statement, but I don't necessarily intend it to be. I mean, more in the sense that, you know, obviously some people are more snaky than others, and they'll try and, you know, deflect from speaking about nature in general as much as they can because they view it as something that could give them away and somehow mess up their current livelihood, which obviously is their main priority. Super, maybe? No, okay. No, speedball. Boom. Boom. Let's go into the mirror world, honestly. Eek. I'm gonna hit those spikes one of these days. This isn't where the Lost is. There it is. Get out of jail free card. I mean, look at me, I won't ever say OMG, I'm the most normal person. Keep yourself at your comfort level without thinking openly about the death of morality. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though, because, I mean, I think more than anything, the debate of whether or not human beings are violent by nature or not I don't think is the main topic. I mean, that should be discussed per se, as much as I feel like almost any human, most humans, I should say, I'm not going to say all or anything like that, of course, that's too all-encompassing, of course, but most human beings, as long as their current way of life isn't threatened in any way, they'll be in something of a, you know, and as long as their current way of life is obviously good or, you know, moderate, then they'll have no reason to try and change anything, which could be a means of going towards violence or doing things that are less moral. Because, I mean, if you think about it, no one who's in a good place in life, or at least, you know, some place that they aren't personally satisfied with, which obviously depends on the person, is going to, you know, resolve to do things in immoral ways, or at least immoral ways by their own standards. Also, what is this Soul Heart luck? Quagmire. Get the knife. I think the best way to put it is that at the end of the day, for the most part, if you in the concept of considering morality a construct, you can make the judgment that at the end of the day, morality is not a set thing as much as a luxury. You have the luxury to be moral, or you don't. And that's just kind of the way it is. Ooh, screw. Humans will always do everything to survive. People are going that far of skipping the horror of North Korea, not because of the leadership, but because they are starving. I mean, yeah. I mean not just humans. That goes for anything alive, really. I mean, it's just main operative number one for anything alive to, you know, live on and pass on their genes. Dying is not an option. At least not for anyone who's in the right place. Yeah, exactly. Down here. And down we go. Money. Pop them. Damn it. Ooh, hold on. Alright, what do we got? It's crazy to hear that people think that empathy is not a luxury. I've heard that so many times. I think, like, I think there's a difference between empathy and being moral per se. Because, I mean, I think they're, at the end of the, I don't know, because I feel like any human being wants to do the right thing, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, your first instinct is always going to be surviving or putting yourself over someone else to make sure that you survive. For the most part, like outside of like special circumstances, like protecting your family or something like that. But I mean, in the situation, like let's say where, you know, someone's threatening your family or something like that, you know, they probably have a troubled life. They've had a lot of problems probably to end up in that position. And, you know, you could feel empathy for them, but if you feel empathy or, you know, let them do what they want, they're probably going to end up, your family's probably gonna end up dead, including yourself. So you got to do something about it. Ah, damn. This room's ass. I think the only reason someone would see empathy as not a luxury is simply because we live in a world where, for the most part, it kind of isn't. I mean, like, seeing how, for the most part, most people aren't, like, in immediate threats of danger or, you know, starvation or death. I mean, yeah, it's easy to be empathetic to those around you when they don't have many, like, existential problems yourself. But I mean, if you were like in a, like, even just, let's just say living in a third world country where things just aren't as well developed, then you obviously have a lot more to worry about concerning keeping yourself alive and going than just your fellow man. This is mine's one. Come on. There we go. By the way, I love the part with the right thing. Different people by different moral standards go different. Right is very thing. Like, they were indoctrinated into thinking that what they do is good. I mean, exactly. Well, that's the thing, because, like, there's... at the end of the day, everyone has a different definition of what is or isn't the right thing to do, and that's entirely based upon their upbringing or the way they were taught and stuff like that. Or even if it's not that, maybe sometimes maybe it is like a mental thing too, where they just aren't completely quote unquote right in the head, and they see something as correct because something in their head told them to. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between the moral thing to do and the right thing to do, because the right thing to do isn't really, you know, what's the word, a set thing. Because everyone from their own perspective is doing the right thing. People don't do things because they think they're wrong or they want to be the bad guy. Someone who, even if they're doing wrong, for some reason thinks that they're doing right, even if they aren't. Yeah, Ivy bag. It also makes me think how many racist people are truly racist, or they do it for a sense of community that is lacking in today's world. I mean, that's a very touchy subject, obviously, but I think you could make the argument of it either being quote-unquote looking for a sense of community, which obviously, I shouldn't have to say this, but that's not the right community to be trying to get into. But, you can also just debate. I don't know. Like, I think honestly, I think that might just be the way it is, where like it really is just a sense of community type thing. Because I mean, I don't know. I really don't know how to dive into it. It's a very loaded topic. It's hard to just casually just get on, so to speak. But I don't disagree that to an extent it might just come down to, you know, community, quote unquote, or, you know, for some reason feeling like they've been wronged or something like that by other people, and just blaming it on a group rather than, you know, some mistake they might have personally made in their judgments or something like that. Alright, so this is the knife piece floor. Over here. Oh no! Go on. Yeah, you know, honestly, keep riffing. I mean, it's not like anyone else is talking. So I mean, I'm down to just bounce back and forth while I'm playing. I don't give a shit. I have 99 coins. I should visit a shop. You are now here. Greetings. Welcome in, Seal. Alright, so that's the end of the stream. Now that Seal's here. Well, I have to put things that I think and have someone to talk about with them with. I mean, yeah. I mean, that goes for anyone, really. I think that's just kind of the appeal of chats and, like, local forums in general, where people can just kind of riff and have people discuss their thought processes with, whether or not it's something they actually, like, believe in or think much about, just to, you know, have a conversation and find what other people think about it. Friendly reminder that I have Abyss. What would you suggest I use it on? Because, like, I've seen plenty of items that are, like, solid. I mean, I could have used it on IV Bag. Yeah, but I mean, Mr. Boom's just hanging out. He's a good friend. But I mean, I guess if I have to kill him... The Jaded Shade comment section and community interaction is my therapy. It really do be like that, honestly. Don't tell my therapist. I am the therapist. Murder? Listen, you can't say, hey, go kill this guy, and then have me go kill him and then be like, man, that's pretty immoral of you. I have a deep fascination with morality, and I find that it's done dirty so many times. Well, that's because morality, like we've been saying the whole time, is inherently a biased subject. What one person finds to be moral and what person finds to be immoral are completely different, not to mention that I would believe that a lot of people in today's society try to be white knights about everything and not actually discuss what anything means or anything like that, and act like they're the most moral, high-standing people who are around, and not get down to brass tacks and talk like a human being. Because it's a lot easier to grandstand and act like you're some, you know, moral paragon than to be a human being these days. I'm gonna kill this guy. Did you miss something, or does this all deep talk come out of nowhere? Pretty much came out of nowhere, but I mean, I'm kind of vibing with it. I mean, I'm just playing the game regardless, so I mean, ooh. So I mean, it's not like... listen, if no one else is gonna talk, and I'm just playing the game, and we're just gonna hang out regardless, I'm gonna talk about what comes up. I really... As long as it isn't blatantly just screwed up, I really don't care. Where's this guy? There he is. Retro, you. I'm gonna kill Hornfell first, and then I'm gonna go get the knife piece. And even then, I think that's part of the issue. I mentioned the moral grandstanding, but when everyone starts moral grandstanding, the second anyone tries to be genuinely normal, they seem like an outcast or someone who's evil, if you will, and they get socially outcasted for being someone who's real rather than applauded for being someone who isn't just another, pawn in the game of those who just want to seem like they're better than everyone else. I mean, obviously some cancellations are somewhat warranted. Some people are like blatant, like monsters. But then there are the people who are just kind of just trying to have a decent time, and they just kind of get excluded for the fact that they aren't, the perfect human being. Because, I mean, these days people don't accept anything that isn't perfection. Mr. Beast is getting sued, by the way. There you go. That's honestly a good example. Someone who morally grandstands and acts like they're the best person is a complete scumbag. Who could have guessed? Though I find that racism against Indians is so normalized these days, like there are oppressed people where you're allowed to be a racist to an extent to them. I have not seen that, honestly, but I mean, I think perhaps it's just your community per se, or I shouldn't say your community as if that's, perhaps it's more just the people you're around, I suppose would be a better way of saying it. Because, I mean, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I feel like I've never explicitly heard myself of people being more against them than anyone else. But I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't care. Not that I don't care. I'm not saying I don't care about, people being oppressed per se, because that's obviously bad. The main thing, but like, I don't care a fuck about race. I think, like I'll be blunt, there are jokes and then there's actual full-blown racism. I think it's one thing to be like making a joke here or there, as long as it's, not completely fucked up. But I mean, if you're genuinely just being a piece of shit, that's a complete other thing. But I mean, at the same time, it's not like every other joke should just be about a certain people. Because I mean, I believe everyone should be able to take a joke per se. Because I mean, no one's perfect, and I think what makes people different is what should be, celebrated, in the sense that everyone can take a joke. Because I mean, I don't give a shit about most jokes. I mean, you can make the debate of you're a man or blah blah blah, but you can't joke about black people. But for Indians, it's kind of normal. I mean, at least I don't know how it is where you are, but I think you can make the debate that comes from specifically just the history, particularly in places like America. Which, I mean, obviously, again, bad. So, but I just think that would be a reason why it would specifically be quote unquote worse to be racist against someone who is African American rather than Indian. When in fact, no racism is good. There's no good racism. There's no acceptable racism, which, despite what some, white college kids will tell you about, how you can't be racist against white people. Or, that white men are specifically a problem, or, that they deserve to be racist against. There's no good racism. I need to go get that key piece. But I mean, obviously, I think, it's a weird way to put it, but also racism itself is also kind of just like, almost, I think what you think is or isn't the most quote-unquote oppressed group will just come down to your territory. Because, I mean, if you look at America, for example, yeah, your first thought is, oh, there were a lot of problems with African Americans in history, so they're the most oppressed group. But then you think about, oh, well, I mean, look into some foreign countries in Europe, and how many, different peoples were oppressed in Europe over, their long history. And it's like, you'll probably find different answers than you would in different places. I got a massage recently, and I was chatting with the masseuse about my job when suddenly out of nowhere she says, Indians must not tip you shit, they're cheap bastards. Oh. Well, that's just fucked up. Yeah, no, I mean... a lot of people are cheap. I mean, especially in this economy. I mean, like, weird. I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. That's weird. But why not? But why specifically bring that up? It almost seems like that specific person is just inherently inclined to be against people of Indian descent for some reason, which just doesn't, I mean, obviously doesn't make sense to me, but I mean, like, I guess something either happened in their past or their upbringing that made them, for some reason, against that people, which, I mean, I don't know, that's weird to me, but I keep saying but, and I don't think that word is very applicable in this situation, because I feel like speaking about this particular topic with the word "but" included anywhere makes it sound really, really like questionable. But I promise it's not like that. Oh, damn. At the end of the day, racism bad. Racism not good. Take PewDiePie, there were so many jokes about Indian people in that sub race. Well, that was explicitly because of T-Series, which is an Indian, company that was coming up at the time. So, I mean, I'm not, what's the word? I'm not condoning that, of course, but I mean, that's specifically why that culture was quote unquote clowned on there. It wasn't as much about them being Indian per se. That wasn't necessarily specifically to be racist. Which, I mean, obviously, I'm sure there was some racism included there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, people were more just trying to support PewDiePie while knocking down a corporation that happened to be Indian. From, being the top of YouTube. I mean, granted, again, I'm sure there probably were people included in that who were just straight up racist. That's just kind of how it is. But at the same time, I think in that particular situation, you could also make the argument that it wasn't quote unquote explicitly meant to be about the race as much as the corporation that happened to be a specific race. At the end of the day, hate bad. People seem to glorify hatred and negativity instead of peace, love, and understanding for some unknown reason. That's just completely fact. So, I mean, look at I don't want to get political, but look at the American election. I don't know. I mean, I know you're not American, Vlad, but I mean, for you, Seal, regardless of which side of the spectrum you're on, there's no respect between the parties or the people between them. It's very much a sporting event where if you're not with us, you're against us. Regardless if you're even on the other side, people will straight up be pissy against independent voters or undecided voters because they haven't voted for the quote unquote right side yet. Because at the end of the day, and I know we've said that a lot over the course of this whole situation, but people are going to always, because negativity is what sells. That's the thing. The bad things stick in your mind. Negativity sells. It gives ratings, and that's what the media, that's what the media feeds upon. If you see two newscasts on the same day, let's say, you see one news report about, a dog, contest or something like that happened in the local town. That's cool. But, 2 hours later, you see a broadcast about some, really fucked up thing happening somewhere across the world. And most people are probably going to be both more interested and, more concerned and thinking about the negative thing that happened. And that's just how it is. People are always going to be more attracted, per se, to something that is more inflammatory, whether it be for something they agree with or inherently disagree with. But what even is bad and good is just an illusion, in my opinion. I'm morally good, so you're morally bad. I mean, that's the entire thing, again, because it's basically what we described earlier as good and evil. I think good and evil comes down to being something of a social construct. But I think I don't want to entirely go against that, because to an extent that is true. But I think you can also debate that there are certain things that you can for sure say are good and evil, more or less. I think to a given person, yes, complete social construct, there's no good or evil. But I think it can also come down to what the majority tends to agree upon. Most people would agree that murder is bad, and murder is bad. But I mean, some people would view it as good for some reason, and that's their view on it. But I mean, so while it is still a perceived thing that they created a construct on their own, the general view still comes down to the fact that most people would agree that it is evil. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it comes down to the fact that no one's ever going to agree on anything at the end of the day. That's what it all comes down to. From the easiest things to the most difficult of subjects, no one's ever going to agree on everything. Oh. And the thing is, like, especially these days, like, if you don't agree on those things, people will consider you evil because it doesn't align with their morals or their beliefs. And that's just a lot of what the problem is these days. People are so quick to label and make everything about good and evil, boiling every topic down to black and white just to have a quick one-sentence statement. Well, I mean, I think you can, like, I don't want to be that guy who's just like, oh, we'll blame social media, but I mean, like, you can absolutely say that it kind of boils down to social media to an extent, because you look at, like, you know, let's say Twitter, because, like, you know, that's an easy one to talk about. Twitter is an echo chamber where you only have 140 characters per message, and you're basically able to put yourself in these areas where you're either interacting with people who do or don't agree with you, and when you aren't in those circles, you're able to just, you know, kind of attack people for their own opinions anonymously. And I think that's just a big thing. And if I remember correctly, I think this is a quote from Mike Tyson, I believe, but it's a little unrelated, but I want to bring it up, where he said that people have gotten too used to being behind screens and not getting punched in the face for what they say. And I think that's just true. I can't justify and won't ever justify that murder and revenge is any kind of unjustifiable. You are not any better about that person you had killed. I mean, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day though, that's completely a viewpoint thing, and it's just, again, it's just a completely viewpoint thing. I mean, I don't agree with it personally, as in I don't agree with, like, revenge or anything like that being good, but, like, you know, some people could see it as, despite the fact that it probably won't, you know, placate them, they could view it in such a way that they do believe that, and they will go out of their way to punish the person who wronged them. Which, I mean, if you want to get into it from a religious perspective, you can also, like, from that perspective, you can also make the debate of, well, it's not my right to judge someone, that is the job of the Lord or whichever deity you may believe in. So, like, I don't know. What am I looking at here? Found the shop already, okay. Social media absolutely makes it worse, and as exponentially made the social phenomenon grow, there just be some deep human nature that makes people get blinded by negativity and sides. Well, I mean, it's basically what I just said earlier. People are inherently people inherently remember things the negatives always stick out more harshly than the positives. Like, I'm not gonna obviously ask or try to, like, use any specific examples, but, like, think of anything bad that has happened to you in your life, and then think about how long ago that was, but the fact that you still think about it. The fact that it still sticks out is enough of a point that fucking this piece of shit knife keeps stabbing me. This boss sucks with this character, man. I just don't have the means to grind through her. But, like, the negative's always going to stick out. It's not that people inherently... It's not explicitly a side taking... Dude, what the fuck? This game's bullshit. You had all my fucking pals. But yeah, it comes down to negativity sticking out more than positivity. Positivity is great. You love positivity, but if someone, there's a difference between, most people will see it as, if someone wrongs me, I'm going to remember that a lot longer than someone who does something right for me, per se. The deeper the wrong, usually the longer it'll last. And especially if we're getting to the political side of things, per se, which I'm not going to name any specifics, but if you look at it like, you know, this specific political party, I don't like this specific person or this specific policy, some people are just inherently inclined to just choose a side, per se, and I think Vlad said this earlier, the way that people will, what was it? I had it in the top of my head. Gosh, it's just flown away from me. But people are inclined to see more of that negative side than not, and so that's what they go with. It's so weird to me how popular it is to try and be more closed-minded. Thank you. That just reminded me that of what I was thinking of. So Vlad mentioned this earlier about how the potential reason for racism seeming like more of a thing than it may be, or because that more people may be more racist or seemingly be more racist, is because of a social aspect. And I think that's what it. And I think that's what it is when it comes to a lot of these other things, where it's talked about when you mentioned closed-minded and all that, is that people are trying to just, rather than be themselves or anything like that, they're trying to become part of a collective, and they feel more strong for that, or feel more important for that. Because I mean, I think you can mention it for like pretty much any protected group, any group these days, where people are less interested in the actual group itself as much as being part of a collective and being a having a way to basically to make an excuse for yourself. And that's just another thing where it's like people use anything to make an excuse for themselves these days, where it's like, I hold on, what, at this point I think I'm just low-key gonna talk, so I'm probably let me just find some music or something. Hold on. We'll continue this in a second. I'm just gonna bring up like some music somewhere. I'll be right back. I don't have the chat up at this moment. What do we got? That'll do. All right, let me just... All right, I'm gonna turn this down. Let me see how that's coming through. Bring the chat back up. Hello, welcome back. Maybe we just try to have a little... Maybe it's because I grew up on the phrase, think for yourself and question authority. Don't play Weezer, don't play Weezer, don't play Weezer. No. I wouldn't play Weezer, or frankly anything with any given lyrics or anything like that when I'm just trying to talk per se, because it would just come off as distracting, I believe. But I think it just comes down to what everyone wants to find, not necessarily a reason for being, but give themselves an excuse. And I think you could make that with an excuse for their laziness, an excuse for how they are, an excuse for anything, if you will, because it's a lot easier to make excuses than to find, solutions to problems or do the work to fix something. And that's just where we are right now. And you can debate, and I think you could definitely attribute that to something like, social media or something like that, where, people just aren't forced to be accountable for a lot of what they say and do anymore, because, everything is online, where you don't have a face, you don't have a name a lot of the time. It's like, that's just kind of, I don't know, kind of the way that is. Oh no. It's a lot. Oh. Why do people go out of their way to cause hatred and animosity towards people? Well, I mean, it's because of groupthink, I think. Which effectively is a way of saying that I guess it's an easier way of saying a sort of indoctrination, if you want to say it that way, because because it's very much everyone's been put in a position where they believe that people who believe this other thing or something like that are evil because they're not accepting me or what I think, because everyone has their own inflated egos these days, because again of stuff like social media and other things where they aren't forced to be accountable or forced to really do anything of substance. Where, if someone, like, again, if we want to use, I think the political example is the easiest way to, go about it. It's for a lot of people who just don't give a shit about that type of stuff, as in, like, give a shit about being something of a regular human being. As far as they're concerned, it's people who are the opposite of them are threats to their way of being, threats to their life. And so they'll go out of their way to preserve that way of life, even though, it's really not the way to go about it. And the problem is that sort of culture has been influenced, or rather, what's the word? It's been incentivized by things like, again, social media and television, where all you see is the bad stuff and the bad things happening, and everything that is bad getting traction and being the more interesting stuff. A lot of people aren't influenced by that good stuff happening because they're in their own little echo chambers, and when they finally step outside of them, everything seems wrong, or just incorrect, and so they try to correct that in the most forceful way possible, because everyone else must be wrong, not me. They have no accountability or their own personal thinking processes. Instead of feeding a racist with arguments and anger, maybe just ignore them and focus on improving stigmatized people. I mean, I really don't know how to respond to that. Oh, you can hear that shit. Yeah, no, I'm flicking my knife around in my hand. I didn't realize it was that audible. But I mean, the thing is, you're not particularly inherently wrong, but I mean, at the same, it's a weird situation with that type of thing, because, like, racism obviously bad, but at the same time, it's like, if someone's racist, like genuinely racist for whatever reason, you're probably not going to get them to change their mind with a simple, with anything really, whether you're not going to be able to convince them of much very easily at the very least. Oh, I cut myself on my hand. Cool. You're not going to be able to convince them of much of anything, because that's their personal belief, and that's just how people are these days. They're in their own little echo chambers where they don't have to think differently. Oh, it went on to the next song. I would appreciate if it went back to Party of the Soul. Let me loop that. And I just caught that finger. Cool. Where am I? Where is my chat? The world's not so much of a bad place. Actually, it's pretty good, full of good people. It's what social media and TV want to do, is inject you with anxiety to make you come back. Well, exactly. I mean, it also just comes down to, what is it? It's the vocal minority, if you will. The majority of the world is not online in social media places, constantly arguing and doing this stuff. I mean, obviously a lot of people are, but at the end of the day, it's a minority of the people who are doing that, and that goes for a lot of things, where the loudest people are the people in the lower numbers. The people who actually, like, are more sensible and stuff like that aren't typically going to be very vocal on social media, or very vocal in general, because they have more things to worry about than, fucking the stupid arguments people have on Twitter or YouTube every day about fucking things that don't really matter. But for the people who are addicted to it, because it is like a drug, that's inherently what it is. It's a drug. It's designed in a sense to keep you coming back and constantly interacting with it. You know, whether it be YouTube, TikTok especially, that is an absolute drug. The news, anything. And I think this is put well by many people, where in a sense attention itself is a currency these days, and a lot of people are putting their attention in the wrong places. You have a friend who is generally racist, but he isn't hateful. It's weird whenever he talks about it because he's still very rational and sensible, but openly admits he has his prejudices. I mean, and there are some people like that. I mean, and that's just kind of how it is. I mean, I don't really know what else to really say about it, but I mean, at least he admits it, I guess, and isn't hateful about it. Obviously, it's not particularly good, not in the slightest, but I mean, I guess it's better to be aware and not necessarily acting on it than anything else. But again, not great. Podcast stream? No. Or gender talk, people yapping about who is a better gender between man and woman, missing their people at the end of the day, and different of gender, race, or anything. Yeah, I just don't, personally, I don't care about any of it at all. I really don't. People can be whatever sexuality or gender or whatever they want to be. That really doesn't matter to me. It's their lives, not mine. If that's the way they want to live, that's their choice. That doesn't influence me. It doesn't affect me. I'm still here and I'm going to be what I am. And as long as they're happy doing what they are, I'm going to be happy doing what I am. And we can all just agree to be what we want to be and be who we are, rather than having to debate about it, about, you know, what's better, or, you know, anything like that. It doesn't concern me. It's just there are, at least in terms of my life, there are more important things to, you know, do than debate on things that at the end of the day are just, it comes down to the person. It's like, you know, debating on things like, it's effectively similar to race. Like, why debate it? People are different races. That's what it is. So that doesn't affect me. If you really get into therapy, if you don't mind me getting a bit personal, go on if you want. I don't care. I mean, as long as it's not something explicitly like TOS or weird, I mean, it really doesn't matter to me. As obviously, as long as you're fine talking about it. But no one's forcing you, obviously, so only say what you're comfortable with. My country is so behind in this part. LGBTQ plus minority is heavily discriminated, protests even ending violently. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the world will still be like that for a long time to come, because, I mean, change just is not a quick thing. It's just not. And the problem is, I think that's just a problem with, in a sense, in the modern world, where everyone is so used to everything happening in an instant, but that's just not how things work in the world when it comes to change. When it comes to that type of thing in different cultures and all that, everything moves like absolutely slower than anything. You could not even quantify how slow it moves, but people don't like that, and so people get pissed off and things happen and blah blah blah. I don't know. That's kind of just the way it is. Not that it's good, of course. Obviously, you know, that's not me trying to dismiss it by just saying, oh, that's the way it is, blah, blah, blah. Because, I mean, that's not, but at the end, what is anyone supposed to do? I mean, obviously, that isn't to say that any one person doesn't make any sort of difference, obviously. But, I mean, when it comes to, like, entire countries and stuff, like, what are you going to do? It annoys me how much OMG so woke, bro. You don't know how well you are. People are having it so much worse, and that's just an inherent first world problem per se. which I mean, some people might not like to hear, but it just is, where people are more concerned about that type of thing, things that aren't really necessary to survival or anything like that, because they have the privilege and luxury to be pissed off about something that doesn't matters, because they have nothing better to worry about. And so they get pissed off about things that don't matter. And that's just how it is. If, you know, let's say, I mean, obviously in my case, let's say we're talking about America, for example, if we were in the middle of, say, an actual war, like a proper war, like it would say, you know, World War II level, or even World War One. It was World War-esque things, anything really big, World War II, Vietnam, anything. People would not be caring as much or as tied up in stuff like that. And the more, you know, less important stuff. I mean, obviously you'd still have your people who are like anti-war and stuff, but I mean, that would at least be tangential to what's going on rather than just random bullshit to be pissed off about this week because nothing else happening. But I'm always in the opposite because sometimes people are too extremist with woke. I mean, people are extreme on every end of the spectrum. There's no spectrum that doesn't have their extremists at the end of the day. And that's just kind of how it is, where echo chambers and different viewpoints have continually drifted further apart from the initial, you know, sources of the belief systems, and they've gotten to a point where they're so far from it that they're debatably radical and extremist to a critical degree. And that's just, again, I hate that I have to say this so much, but I mean, that's just kind of how it is right now. There's not much to really be done about it. I mean, obviously, if people stop... I mean... I don't think there's any real easy way to necessarily fix it, because a lot of it comes down to just modern society and modern luxuries. Because, again, people have the luxury to be pissed off about things. People have the luxury of being on, you know, iPads or iPhones or on social media all day, which, I mean, you know, I'm not going to necessarily debate that I'm not, like, using YouTube pretty frequently, but, you know, especially because... especially the younger generation, I think in particular, letting them effectively be raised by technology is just not the way to get functional people in any way. I mean, I don't like both sides when they go extreme, and balance is so hard to keep. Harassing people because they're not like you. Yeah. Am I knitting? No, I'm flipping a knife. I had a conversation with my mom recently where I was trying to talk about a lot of morally gray stuff about how she raised me and the shortcomings of her parenting. My guess is she was particularly displeased with that topic. Yep. But she would not listen to me at all and got super defensive, trying to rope in the rest of my family, making sides about every little thing I brought up. Yeah, I mean... all I wanted was honesty and have a conversation with people in general, and even my mom just go out of their way to give in to hoopla rather than rationality and discussion. Yeah, I mean... that's just, again... that's just how a lot of people are, where a lot of people are highly defensive. Even I'll admit that I'm, like, if I'm, you know, if someone's getting on to me for something, I'll get pretty defensive myself. But I mean, but I think in this particular case, I think, and I saw this coming from a mile away the second you mentioned that first paragraph, by mentioning that, the first thing that would be told to her by you telling her she had issues is effectively saying that she was a bad parent. It's making a mountain out of a molehill. And obviously that might not be what you meant, but that's just how someone, like, what it seems like your mother would see in that particular circumstance, where you're being told, oh, or where you might say one thing, but it comes off as, oh, you know, that you might mean worse, or I'm sure you hate me, or you hate the way I raised you, you think I'm a terrible mother, and I've done X, Y, and Z to try and keep this family apart, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. People don't want to exit their comfort zone. Exactly. That's just completely true. I really don't try Ipecac, but Isaac is a 5-year-old. I don't understand why the chest exploded in ending 6. I don't know. I'm not really sure about that, honestly. Ipecac is a sort of treatment used in types of poisoning. Hmm. Fascinating. Yeah, I'm not sure. We could probably take a look at it. Let me bring this window back to the side. I'll play it in the background. It's not in the options. Stats. You know, people don't want to exit their comfort zones, which of course are being further expanded and created, like, you know, by the echo chambers. Also, people always assume that you have a good relation with your family, or you should spend time with your family. What if you hate your family? Well, I mean, because under normal circumstances, which I mean, obviously it does, by saying, I mean, normal is inherently just being a bit disingenuous in and of itself, because there's no such thing as normal, but under quote unquote normal circumstances, people are perceived to like enjoy or to like their family. That's just the normal thing to assume. Unless you have given them reason to believe otherwise, most people would not believe you have anything against your parents off rip. And that's, I mean, there's no other reason to see it that way, any other way. You understand why the chest exploded in ending 6? Because, I mean, it seems like Ipecac, I mean, obviously the item Ipecac shoots explosive shots in the first place. Some sort of explosive vomit or something like that. Really, yeah, people are always just gonna. That's just another thing where people are always going to assume the easy thing, which is kind of just where stereotypes and things like that come from. It's a lot easier for the human brain to remember things by putting things in the classifications, such as, you know, you are a person, you have a family. By having a family, you must agree or you must like them, obviously, because that is the normal thing that most would classify their family under, people who you like and find comfort in. Even though that's not necessarily true for a lot of people, because, you know, for one reason or another. I mean, it goes, that's just how stereotypes and human rationality works, where it's just a whole lot easier to say X always equals Y than to think, oh, X could equal Y, Z, fish, cube, anything like that, because at the end of the day, X, our variable, is never going to be constant. One thing is not always going to be another thing, because no one is exactly the same. People might be similar, but they're never going to be the same, so you can't just assume that. But it's a lot easier for people to assume than to, you know, ask or anything like that, because asking not only is just harder, but invites people to potential, it becomes a bit more uncomfortable, or invites them to make some sort of just be intrusive, if you will, because a lot of people will just not choose to be intrusive because they don't want to be, not in the sense that they'll think, oh, I don't want to be nosy or ask about your family or anything like that, so obviously I should just assume you're probably on good terms with them unless you state otherwise. Most people of the world, you don't choose your family. Someone just got to have an abusive family with trauma and bang, go spend time with their family. I mean, in that, and that entirely depends on the situation, I feel like. Because, I mean, if it's someone who you don't know, you cannot, I don't think you should necessarily blame them for not thinking that. Because I think not only is it like a natural thing to assume that you have a decent relationship with your family, but also if you look at it in the biblical sense, where, you know, family is considered like one of the most important things to your person. So, I mean, it can go really in either direction, but I mean, kind of what I just said before, unless someone is just as aware but stupid, most people are probably just going to be unaware of your situation and assuming that surely you must relate. It's weird how so many people actively try to categorize and compartmentalize. People actively force gray variables into black and white constants. I mean, it's just, easier to categorize and compartmentalize. That's just a thing. It's not necessarily weird. You, as a human, you do not have the mental capability to understand that everything is different at all times. Even as I say this, anyone can say it, but at the end of the day, your first subconscious thoughts are always going to betray what you might say. Your first thought about seeing someone will probably always come from, oh, I see, let's say, a football jock. Surely he's stupid because he's a physical guy, It's just an example. Or, maybe you see a blonde girl, you think, oh, surely she's fucking stupid, even when that might not be true. And even if, even if you understand that a lot of people are different or something like that, you're still going to find that some, insignificant or some detail will come to your mind the first thing you see of someone. Regardless of whether or not you believe it per se fully, there's something in you that still says, oh, this equals this, even if you don't necessarily think that per se. People always take the easy option, even smart people do it. Yep. I mean, it all comes down to think smarter, not harder. Or, yeah. Work smarter, not harder. I mean, same concept. Just do what's easier for them. It comes down to doing what's easier for the mind or what's easier for the person. And what's easier is saying this equals this rather than seeing something and having to completely process new information every time you see it. Because, I mean, obviously, you're always going to be processing some sort of new information about a given person. But, I mean, if you're not going to immediately think that a lot of the time, your first process thought isn't going to be, oh, surely this. You're always going to have your inherent biases when you see a given person, whether they be for the better or the unfortunate worse. Or people with high IQ making it their whole personality. I mean, that goes for any group of people to an extent. Like, a lot of people will just make something their personality because they want to be different or special, so to speak. I don't know. People are people. No one's perfect. And that's just how it is. There's no getting around that. Because we're not meant to be. I've always actively tried not to think like that and always thought that was maturity, but then I grew up and realized so many people fall for biases and stereotypes and black and white thinking. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, people, whether it's easy, I'm not inherently trying to say that regardless of any situation, everyone's going to think like that, because that's not necessarily true. Because you can absolutely be open to new people and new experiences and all of that. But I mean, for some people, especially older people who are less prone to, I wouldn't say, prone to, they're less able to process change and things being different and think in more active ways because their brains are more old and less sponge-like, if you will, as a child's or younger adults. So they're prone to being like, oh, the easiest way to process this is the XY method. But I mean, especially when, again, if you want to get into the social media bullshit again, it's like, it'll feed you all these biases and shit that, XY is bad and XY is good or whatever, that, yeah, people are going to inherently be more biased because of that. Tells me how much that is growing, just how more and more extreme people are becoming, how it's becoming popular. Yeah, and that's just not going to stop until the bubble bursts, if it ever bursts. Because at the end of... I keep saying that, but the way things are going, people are going to get to a boiling point because they are going to constantly keep opposing each other because they're being forced to by the current society. Because they're subconsciously being pit up against each other by, gosh, and this sounds super fucking conspiratorial, but that's not what I mean it to be. But in a sense, people are being pit up against each other by, quote unquote, the man, which makes it a whole hell of a lot easier for them to do what they want. which, you know, they could be the government or the higher ups or whatever the fuck you want it to be. But that, my point, case in point being, is that people are going to keep getting worse and worse because people can only focus on so many things at once. And if you're focused on trying to fight the people who you're supposed to be comrades with, then the people higher up can do whatever the fuck they want. Because if people are turning a blind eye, why not? You know? If you think about it, again, I keep pushing into political direction, but if you think about it, like, if people were less extreme and people were more agreeable, like, let's say even just we had the same society from, say, even just 20 years ago, it would be a whole hell of a lot harder for the government and, you know, people in more powerful positions to get away with stuff that they do rather than it is now. Which, I mean, and that can mean anything. It doesn't necessarily mean anything good or bad per se. It could be one or the other. But I mean, obviously one side may be more inclined to point things out than the other if it's particularly inflammatory, but then it just becomes more news. And if it is particularly inflammatory, you know what happens? People then say, oh, this is another thing to argue and focus about while people are doing things up above. Find annoying, oh my, I spend X time in this game and I could do so many things. You start to think about the context, you'll find in that time you relaxed after a long day from job. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, in that particular circumstance that you're giving me, like, if you, like, I have, for example, like, I have nearly 2,000 hours in TF2, which that's a fucking lot. But I mean, if we contextualize that, I started playing that game back in like 2014, and, you know, playing for like a few hours regularly, especially when I was younger. Yeah, that'll add up. Or if, you know, if I were to say play it for 2-3 hours, let's say 2 or 3 hours after work per se, I played it every day. That would be, you know, let's do the math on that actually. So let's say I played TF2 3 days a day after work. So, and let's say hypothetically I worked every day. Obviously, I mean, I don't, but let's just say that hypothetically. So 3 times 365. So that's 1,000 hours per year. So, I mean, it really just all depends on how you're using that time. So, I mean, obviously, yeah, if you're a fucking Neanderthal living in a basement somewhere only playing League of Legends or something like that, and you have like thousands of hours constantly racking up and all that shit, yeah, you could definitely make the argument that you could be using that time for better things. But I mean, obviously there's a difference between that and someone who just regularly plays something maybe like a few hours a day, a week, or, you know, something like that. It all just comes down to context, or, you know, stuff like that. I mean, that's just how I view it anyway. But I mean, people always find one thing or another to complain about, especially when they're not given things to actually worry about, whether or not they're actually important. Or thinking about the time you waste, you'll become miserable and you will fill yourself with anxiety. Well, I mean, yeah, I think, and that's just another thing of people focusing on the negative. I mean, like, you can debate, like, again, if I go back to the TF2 example I just used, could you say that, you know, 2,000 hours is a fucking waste of time? And, you know, if we, you know, look at it this way, what is, okay, so 2,000 divided by 24, that's about 83 days worth of time gone, but, like, I enjoyed all my time playing the game. So, I mean, was it really a waste? The only thing, like, as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's not a waste of time. Now, I mean, granted, obviously, if you're not being productive, that is a completely different thing. But, I mean, if you're being productive and still enjoying yourself on the time you're able to use, then, I mean, is it really a waste? I think the bigger waste of time is doing something over a course of time and not enjoying yourself or not having fun. That is the waste of time, because you're using time on something you don't enjoy. So why waste your time on that? If you're doing something you like, and then that's all that really matters. It's not a fucking waste then. But if it's something you don't enjoy, like, what are you doing? I mean, obviously sometimes it'll take time to kind of learn if you enjoy something or not, but I mean, once you're past that point, you know for a fact you don't like something, why waste more time on it? because that's the true waste of time. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can make that debate with almost, I think that's just a universal debate, really. Like, if is relaxing a waste of time though? Working is not a waste of time. That's work that you're basically forced to do. Well, no, I don't think either of those are a waste of time either. Is again, as long if it's something that you have to do to keep yourself alive and productive as a human, or it's something that's keeping you happy, as long as it's something, you know, productive, whether it be for yourself mentally or as physically, so to speak, in the sense that it's keeping you alive or something like that, then it's not a waste of time. Like, you know, working may suck, but like either find a new job or don't. I mean, yeah, a job you hate can suck and it absolutely will fucking drain you. I'm not going to debate that. But I mean, earning money and keeping yourself alive is not what I'd say is a waste of time, unless you explicitly have some other dream or something you're looking to try and do with your life. And as far as relaxing, what's wrong with that? I mean, as long as you're not... people forget that sometimes they need to relax. They focus too much on the productivity. Well, people need that. Well, exactly. People need to take the time to just, you know, exist, have a good time, think, do anything that isn't just, you know, grind until they die. Because that's how you end up in an early grave. If you're only ever on the grind, sometime you're going to run out of material to grind away, and then you're just left with nothing. And it's like, well, what do you do from there? There's nothing left to you except a husk, if anything. Just a bunch of dust and sand from everything you've worn away over the time because you didn't choose to take a break every so often and let yourself, you know, just be happy and exist. Yeah. That's, yeah. And that's just, that particular example just sounds like a particular societal or family standards type thing. Because if someone's being that picky about something, they're like, you can already tell they have extremely high standards, whether it be, again, societal or specifically their family, that given family, where it's like, if you're not constantly active, they see you as a waste of time, or that you're not trying hard enough to be what quote unquote they want you to be. Not that you don't want to be what that they want to be, because if they quote unquote care so much that, you know, that you're doing something that isn't grinding, then clearly it's more for, they might, obviously I'm not saying that they don't care about you per se, because obviously I'm sure that to an extent they also want you to succeed and be happy in life, but at the same time, if they're not letting you relax and do your own thing, yeah, that is basically every self-improvement guru. Well, I mean, think about it though. If you're paying someone to tell you how to better yourself, think about this. If self-improvement gurus told you exactly what you had to do to improve yourself, and perfectly, they'd run out of clients. They need people to keep coming back. I just closed the game on accident, I think. But that's the thing. If self-improvement gurus didn't help you run yourself into the ground to some extent, they wouldn't keep coming back. They wouldn't keep paying you for advice. And that's the truth of it. That goes for anyone running a business. I mean, shit, you think about stuff like, you know, all fucking dating advice and shit. You're gonna play games? Sounds good. But you think about like dating advice and shit, and it's like, if they gave you perfect advice, you know, you wouldn't have to come back and you wouldn't have to pay more, which is not financially, you know, beneficial to them. They don't want you to succeed, at least not immediately, because that's not beneficial for them. And I mean, obviously there are quote unquote more moral people who will try and do what they can to get you to benefit, but I mean, that's not beneficial to them. Well, Jay, it's been real, but I gotta get up in 4 hours and go out of town. Good luck being a modern philosopher, and remember to think for yourself and question authority. Hoorah. You take care, Seal. Thanks for being here. Jaded, that is I. Hello. Can my ideas save the world? I don't know. I don't know. I think if I were to say yes, I think that's a very egotistical way of thinking. It's saying that your specific ideas are what can change the world or save it. But at the same, on the same token, I don't think there's an idea. No. I don't think there's a leader in the world who isn't egotistical, and not in an evil way per se, but because to be someone who is in that position of power where they can make changes, they have to have a vision, they have to have something they can change, and they have to know what they want from the world and what they want to do with it. So in a sense, someone has to be egotistical to do such a thing, and I'm just not egotistical enough for that. As a YouTuber, if you will. But I mean, I'm sure, but I'm sure if someone stepped up who had similar ideas and had that ego and that drive, yeah, absolutely. They maybe not save the world, but they can actually do something. People think it's so easy to be the president until they become one. I mean, yeah. I mean, that goes for almost any job. But I mean, especially in the case of like where it's in a high, like where you're in high standing, you have to have a sort of, you absolutely have to have a sort of ego. You have to. And I think people hear the word ego and inherently call it negative, as a negative trait, but that is not true. An ego is an inherently neutral term, but it's what you do with the ego, or the size of the ego, or the kind of ego that you have, that determines what kind of ego you have. But for the most part, regardless of what you have, as long as you need an ego to basically be the person who claims that they're the effectively the ruler of the free nation, or any country or government, they have to have some sort of ego, because otherwise they can't rule with strength. If someone who's kind of sheepish is in power, they're either going to get run out or never get across anything they want to do, because they're not able to say, hey, shut up, we're doing what I want to do. Because you need that power and you need that ego to do it. Ego and narcissism. Having an ego isn't always a bad thing. Exactly, Chef. Also welcome in. I mean, exactly. An ego inherently, and I was just saying this before, but inherently is just, it's a neutral term. It just depends on what kind of ego you have and all that, and how you use it. I mean, and I'm sure you might have caught the tail end of it. I don't know how long you've been here, but I mean, like, at the end of the, gosh, I need to quit saying that, but I'm going to keep saying it anyway. People need an ego to be in those sorts of positions, where if you're trying to change the world to something of your vision, which, I mean, that's kind of what you have to do in certain positions. Like, if, again, let's say president or something like that, your job is to make the world a better place, so to speak, because of how you view it. Essentially just how self-confident you are. I mean, effectively, yeah. People with low ego are basic sheeps. I mean, that's exactly what it is. If you don't have an ego, you're more likely to let other people dictate how you feel or how you view things. It's a whole hell of a lot. If you don't have an ego, you're not able to, you're fine with just saying, oh, this person is an authority. They must know what they're talking about because they're high up and they speak with conviction, like they know what they want and what they want the world to be. And so I will support them for that because X, Y, Z, but mostly because they have the voice and authority to say so, and the personal strength and ego. Because, I mean, people who are weak, they just don't work in power. They just don't. I mean, again, not to get fully political, but I mean, for example, look at Joe Biden. Like, whatever you think about him politically, he's not a particularly strong leader. Like, he's an older fellow who has memory problems and all that, and that doesn't really come off as someone who you wouldn't want to be an enemy with, per se. You need to have an ego, you need to have a presence. And of course, to be present. Or psychopaths are done dirty. Can't imagine how many doctors or lawyers are psychos. I mean, yeah. I mean, can you imagine how many doctors are sadists? And, you know, it just completely flies by because, you know, of their profession or because it just isn't noticed. They just get away with what they want because they can. Because it's in their profession. I don't know if they're psychos, probably just desensitized more often than not. I mean, realistically, I feel like realistically that's the better distinction to make, not necessarily psychos. But I mean, you can definitely say that there are psychopaths among those particular groups of people, doctors or lawyers, for example, because there are people who have sadistic tendencies and they've been somehow allowed to get into professions where they're able to effectively, you know, satiate those, you know, desires. Absolutely, yeah. I'm not saying that's absolutely the majority, because it's absolutely not. But, I mean, they're there. They are real. Basically, people with low empathy. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like, especially these days, the number of people with empathy is decreasing by a rapid amount, because people are just more self-absorbed than ever. They're in their own worlds. Is it wrong to have low empathy? I don't want to say it's wrong, but I think it is good to have empathy. Empathy, I don't want to say it's wrong, but I think it's not good to have low empathy per se, which, I mean, obviously good is its own social construct, but I mean, I don't think there's many inherent negatives to having empathy. Obviously, if it's too high and it lets you get in the way of doing things, then obviously that can be a problem, but I don't know if, can you really name any situation where having a moderate level of empathy is bad? I feel like if you have at least lower than average empathy, or at least it would make your job easier in those kinds of jobs. So many times empathy is seen as a weakness, and I mean, it entirely depends on yeah, but the thing is, like, why is it seen as a weakness? That's the question I posit to you. Why is it seen as a weakness? Because what is wrong with being an empath? What is wrong with being empathetic? I mean, obviously in certain, you know, jobs, like, again, if we're saying like military and such, you kind of got to do what you have to get things done, unfortunately. But, like, if you're just a normal everyday person, what's wrong with being empathetic? I mean, it might make you seem more sensitive, but, like, I don't know, I guess, I mean, maybe it's just my personal opinion, but I guess I'd rather seem a bit more sensitive than completely uncaring. I mean, it might be a weakness in its own sense, and I'm not going to deny that, but because empathetic people are seen as soft and weak people. I mean, you can debate, and you could definitely make that debate, but I mean, like, I don't think being empathetic and being a strong person are mutually exclusive. I think you can absolutely be a strong person and still, you know, care about others. I mean, obviously that doesn't concern, you know, the public perception you mentioned, but, like, if we're talking, like, just completely generally, there's no reason why a strong person can't be empathetic. And if anything, a strong person who's empathetic is probably the strongest person there could be, because not only are they able to be that strong person that is needed at given times, but like they're also able to understand and deal with social situations that require a sort of empathy, because that's something that's important when it comes with dealing with people who are emotional creatures, like by nature. And I think that it would just also make you more charismatic as a leader if you are someone who is strong and empathetic, because you're able to get things done when you need to, but also be a real fucking human being, as opposed to being a robot who just destroys everything to get what you want. I think it just depends on the level of empathy and how you go about it. But I don't know. That's just my view on it, I think. Yep. Cancel that. With that being said, though, it's getting to 2:30, so I mean, if there's any last points that want to be made before I call it quits, now is probably the time. Otherwise, I am getting particularly tired, despite how, you know, enthralling the conversation has been, of course, because of it is late. So, any last notes then? I'll give it a good second. Excuse me. Jaded therapy. Alrighty, very well then. Alright, so I guess that's kind of it for the stream then. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, we had a fun little conversation, I think, and I think conversation alone was well worth going live for tonight, so hey, can't complain about that. With that being said though, if I'll probably see you later at some point, so I hope y'all take care and have a nice night, day, evening, dusk, dawn, whatever it is for you, and see ya. Bye bye.